Okay, I am going to open the hearing for the 587 Caswell Road. Request for a variance. So my next question is the appealing party present?
No,
No, okay. So, why don't I see if they show up? Can I just,
I would move to the second one.
yeah, I'll move to the second one, and if they show up, then we'll do it, and if they don't. Okay. Okay, so I'm opening the hearing for 539, 559 Warren Road. The appealing party is present. Do you have any?
no, this is Lower Creek Road.
Oh, that's your address. You live on Warren Road.
Yes.
Yes, okay, that's why I read it differently. Yes, got it, yep, got it. Again, in the future, having that legal notice would help me. Because we always have, that's great. I don't know if you did it or Joy did it, yeah, okay, 366 Lower Key Cliff.
Correct.
So do you have any additional comments to this application? Anything that you wanted to add that wouldn't have been in here?
Basically, I'm ready to do, but weather is bad and it's nice big lot, just the frontage is a little bit too short to put two building. So what I'm asking for 23 feet frontage relief. This is my point. The lot is over 2.5 acres, fairly deep, nice setup for two building with a green barrier, you know, for the separation. So, and I also built on the neighbor exactly same duplexes, so can be.
Right, so the picture that you see
Yes,
is
yes.
actually something that's
Mhm,
built as a.
Yes, so that's, I gonna copy
That,
on this lot.
do Andrew or Ben, do you have any questions for the applicant?
No, I don't.
There's no one else present to ask for comments. There are, I should read into the record any response letters. So do you have that letter from the planning department? That I should read that into the record. I believe, or we can just say,
Was there a letter from the planning department?
We sent you a memo.
yes, yep, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
We didn't see the letter. Do you have a copy of it?
I'm getting it right now, this memo. No, this is not what I mean. This is, so this is the planning department you sent, and I can find this on my phone. They needed to review this first, the planning department, and they made some recommendations at their last meeting. Basically,
the
that it was
plan-
fine, the
oh.
planning
Board.
board, I'm
Oh,
sorry,
I thought you were 239.
right, so
Okay.
no, the planning board.
Oh,
So I'm supposed to read that, I believe.
well, that would be in the record, right? For the planning boards. This is
Record.
the, right, the
Okay.
planning board, right?
Oh, right, that's what I sent you yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Email.
so do I need to read that into the record? I don't know, just,
I would-
just to comment that the planning board has recommended the project. I mean, they had no objections to it, the planning.
Oh, you could add it to the record. I don't need to read it.
Okay, so let's add that.
Part of the record anyway.
I'll add that from that determination from the planning board, that piece that dealt with this particular variance. Let's add that to the record, okay, in the minutes. She there?
Joy, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here. I didn't hear you.
Okay, Joy, what I'd like to do is add the planning board's recommendations for this project into the record. You have a copy of
Yeah.
that, or you can get it, okay.
Yep, I can do that.
Any additional written responses?
No.
Okay, so I will now close this public hearing. I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, what happens now is we will now go through, we go through 5 questions, which we answer, we make a determination, and we decide you're welcome to stay, and here, you're also welcome to go and call Gina in the morning for what we decide, but either way, you're.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I will say this will not take long time.
Right, I would think so,
Yeah.
probably not,
I will sit on back seat.
okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay. Okay, so let me ask you guys for a sense of this.
I just soon move on to the,
Okay, go to the questions. So A, in considering whether an undesirable change would be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties would be created by granting of the area variance, the zoning board of appeals finds as follows.
I don't think there's any change. We're
Yeah.
talking about a line on the ground. There's no physical change proposed here, as far as I can tell.
In addition, even though we're talking about a line in the ground, what goes on after that line of the ground is an exact duplicate of its neighbor.
Well, I don't think
We're not determining,
we're considering the road frontage for a lot.
okay,
And the road frontage we're talking about is not the lot where he's gonna build anyway.
okay,
It's the lot where the buildings already exist. I mean, we're not,
yep, okay, got it. So your motion, so you want to make that motion?
yeah, I would move that there's no change in the character of the neighborhood.
Okay.
We're just, we're dealing with a line on the ground.
Okay. I would second that. All in favor?
Aye.
B, in considering whether the benefits sought by the applicant can be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance, the zoning board of appeals finds as follows.
There's
No,
no way,
Really, yeah, I can't either. No, there's not really,
it's the minimum,
yep,
uh,
sort of jiggering with that.
pretty straightforward. That
Yeah,
seldom is, but in this case. I couldn't see any other way to achieve this.
yep, no. I mean, you can't draw that line in the ground any other way that would make sense for the two buildings.
That would be my,
Yep, okay.
Fine.
So you know what? I'll make that motion. You can't draw the line in the ground in any other way that would be feasible. Or make any sense. Do you have a second? I'll write that better when I actually write it.
Seconded.
All in
okay,
favor? It will be more articulate.
Aye.
Okay. C, considering whether the requested area variance is substantial, the zoning board of appeals finds as follows. I'd like always to give this one to you, Ben.
it doesn't seem substantial. I mean, I forget what he's required to have 250 feet of road frontage. I forget what he's gonna be left with now, 200 and something.
Yeah, I can tell you in a minute. Second.
Um,
It's 23 feet of relief to have 227
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
feet of road frontage.
less than 10%.
Okay.
A small amount.
Okay. So no, not substantial. And
I would say it's not, no,
okay. You want
for
to,
those reasons that it's.
Yep.
Less than 10% of the required road frontage.
okay, I would second that if that's a motion.
I'll make it a motion and I will vote in favor of it.
Andrew, you want to second that and then we'll do all. in
I'll
favor.
second it.
Okay, all in favor. Okay. In considering whether the proposed variance will have an adverse effect or impact on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district, the zoning board of appeals finds as follows.
I would say see, our response to A, I don't
Yeah. Okay,
know, physical changes proposed.
you want to make that motion, Andrew?
I make that motion.
Okay, I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Okay. In considering whether the alleged difficulty was self-created, the zoning board of appeals finds as follows.
well, yeah,
Of
I mean,
course,
sure, you
yeah,
bought a lot. Knowing what the requirements were and now you're looking to do something beyond those requirements, so sure,
we always answer yes to that one.
I'm not.
Okay, but, okay, so now we need to, this is not on my sheet here, which is going to be here. There was. There was no county review required, it looks like. And. It's a type 2 action under. Seeker 6 CR New York 617.516.
Well,
So-
that's an interesting question, isn't it?
Well, it's, I mean, I'm looking at this, it says the requested variance is a type 2 action under state environmental. Granting of individual setback and lot line variances adjustments and therefore requires no environmental review. It hasn't been referred to the county.
Well, the interesting problem is that. The ingenious way that they've written it. Law in this case. States. In contravention of state law, that the planning department is the lead agent.
Yeah.
And this is, we're segmenting this into the subdivision and building the house. So, has the planning department done any environmental review here?
No, because it's waived according to seeker.
Okay, so they consider the planning department determined that this is a class 2 exempt action?
Yes,
Okay, so that's what. Right.
Okay.
So that's a record, okay.
Okay, so I would. Move that this variance is a type 2.
Did they decide whether they were gonna do a coordinated review or? Or what?
no,
No, they just. And they actually made that determination. Well. We're in a strange territory, but if you want to move to classify this type 2 exempt action. Is that what you're doing?
Yep, yep.
seeker is quoted in there, it seems pretty. Self-evident. It's a lot line adjustment.
Well. The secret deals with an entire action, that's the problem, is they don't let you segment into different little pieces. But you can do, if you have a lead agent, in this case, the planning department, according to the town law. They're doing a seeker. And then we're doing a seeker, you can do an uncoordinated review. Or coordinated review. But I don't think they've even dealt with the issue, if I had to guess. Leaves us kind of out on a limb, but. I will go along with, as long as our chairman is willing to spend time in prison.
Yeah, I'm happy to do it.
You know, if you want to talk to Ray about how that's done, as far as I understand it. We quoted where it's waived in the State Environmental Quality Review Act. That the granting of individual setback and lot line variances and adjustments. And therefore requires no environmental review. If you think something else needs to be done, please, talk to Ray about it. I would.
I could talk to him again about that, but we talked about it before. Here you have more than one party. Involved in this. You have a BZA. And you have the planning department. So normally, if you have somebody doing the seeker review, like we normally do, we're the lead agent because we're making that determination. We're the only ones doing the seeker. But if you have a bunch of people involved, then there's another process. But you could, at least through the seeker regulations, in terms of determining lead agent, when you have more than one party.
Yeah.
Why they do it this way, I have no idea, but they decided to do it that way. As I say, I'll go along with Janice. I'm not anyone to discourage criminality in any form, so go ahead.
Okay, so I
But
move,
you're gonna have to get your second from an attorney of record.
okay,
Not turning yet.
yeah,
Yeah, well, if,
are you waiting to hear?
No, I has the bar exam, but not, I haven't haven't gotten admitted yet.
Okay, yeah.
That's next week on Thursday.
So do you want to second this questionable in my mind, not very questionable action. I think it's what Ben is talking about is, you want to read this? This is from the planning department here. In which the planning department memo is determining that it's a type 2. They've classified it as this type 2 action. And the planning board has also approved, I think what Ben is talking about, who is the main actor in this action. Is that right, Ben?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
involved parties.
Yes.
If there's more than one involved party, then you have to figure out how you do the seeker.
Right.
Because the seeker, the idea is not to break things up and say, well, we're gonna give a variance for this frontage, and then we're gonna give a variance for the house, then we're gonna get a you know, you have to look at the cumulative impact.
This will bounce back to planning board, right? Once we,
Well,
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Gluckowitz is not planning on subdividing it right now, so it will come back, I think, before.
to the planning
Yeah.
board, yeah, so that, at that point, the seeker would probably then.
So we're granting, you're saying that we're granting a lot line variance for an existing parcel. And there may never be a subdivision.
Well, that has not been it's conceptual, then that's the way that the town law is written.
So it'll
Okay,
now go
I'm
back,
very familiar with the town law.
it'll now go back to the planning board, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it'll go back to the planning board.
No, I think it goes back to the, I believe, doesn't it go back to the planning department? Planning department approves minor subdivision.
Well, it
Okay.
depends on what the next action the applicant wants to do.
Okay. Well, I've raised this issue before, so I will let this dead horse. Janet's willing to.
I am-
Janice, Shelley has a question. She's on Zoom.
Okay. Go ahead, Shelley.
Hi, everyone. I just want to point out that in the zoning law, 270-9.1 in the general regulations, section C, it does say that no lot shall hereafter be reduced or altered so as to result in a lot that does not meet the minimum lot area or yard requirements prescribed by this chapter. So I don't know how that conflicts with a variance, but I just wanted to bring that to the attention of the board.
Well, the issue, Shelley, is that you have a subdivision, which for now apparently we don't necessarily have, and you have a lot line variance request that are supposedly related, but I'm not sure what's happening now. Does that make sense to you? I know what you're talking about from town law.
Right.
That says that we can go ahead, we can go ahead and do a lot line variance without having the subdivision occur first. And I understand that part of the law, and that's
Okay.
law.
Right, and that's what we're doing, right?
Okay.
Or that's what I thought we were doing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
but apparently the subdivision may or may not occur.
Well, I think Mr. Klimowitz is probably going to apply for that in the future, but it's not included with this application.
Well, it's kind of, okay, so the lot right now will continue to have the same road frontage it has. But at a
For him.
future date, it might have a lesser road frontage
Right.
or not. It may never happen. Okay. Well. There should be any, you think there should be a sunset clause on this at all, or should it just go on forever?
Yeah, because once we do this, it's with the land, right?
Yeah, I assumed that there was a sort of process whereby a subdivision was referred to the planning board. They sent us a note saying,
Sounds good to us.
we think this is
Yeah.
pretty good. They talked to the applicant about the building. They seemed comfortable with that. It seemed like they did a pretty good review of it. And then they referred it to us for the road frontage,
Mhm.
What's the process?
variance. But it seemed like one co-joined project. And it, which raises problems with secret simply because if you have a lead agent, anybody that has discretionary decision like the BZA and the planning department, just have to coordinate how it's gonna happen.
Mhm.
And they make a determination of whether they want it to be a coordinated review or uncoordinated review or whatever they want to do. And then we're not going to contest that they're the lead agent. In fact, we can't because it's written in the town law that they're the lead agent. You guys are the lead agent. I won't get into how well that's supported by state law, but that's the way it's written. So we would be doing whatever you guys decided. And apparently, I don't think anybody's probably decided this, but it doesn't bother me.
So your question about a sunset clause?
Well, then if we're now approving a frontage
Change.
reduction.
Yeah.
And there may never be a subdivision.
Go ahead.
Does this go on for 50 years or I mean?
My plan is when all this prospective gonna be two buildings and I'm not gonna split the lot. Regular, he describes, so I will show how to create a flag lot to showing two separate lots, but I'm not gonna split the lot. I will use all this land for this two buildings. For this two dwelling. So I'm not planning, they're not gonna be, and probably after finishing the builds for the construction, is no way to split that. So not gonna be another lot, the flag that would not be existing.
So there may never be a subdivision.
Never. And the lots will block the area for the flag lot, so not gonna be subdivided, not gonna be split this lot. And on this drawing, what I got, and because you got also, they show that way.
So the lot that we are looking at on the drawing doesn't really exist. It's the whole parcel.
No.
So now the whole parcel will wind up with a,
Closer.
So this that you had here. This is what. This picture here,
Yes,
these are the two buildings you're talking
Yes.
about. And so what you're doing is you are trying to create. Do you have this too where it has that
yeah,
Y,
that's exactly.
right?
yeah.
And what I start to, let's say, force to get this lot buildable. We spoke with planning department with Mr. Ray. And he said, one way to do this is show, so I can split the lot with one flag lot. And that way will show, so I can have a two building, because one of the code saying one building per acre. I'm having 2.5 acre. Area is fine, because I have over 2 acres, so it will be fine for the building. Problem is, I don't have enough front, because front is a little bit over 250.
Right.
So he said, one of the option will be just show, so I can create one of the flag lot. But the flag lot will be never subdivided, never split. Because the building will be set on this side and there's no reason, and I'm more like happy, and I'm gonna keep that. This will, I call it, this is my retirement plan for the future. So that's not gonna be.
Okay,
So you want a lot line reduction for a subdivision that you're not gonna do?
I will tell you, I wanna have a permit so I can build that, you know, and what I follow the whole rule. And planning department saying, let's show the lot, so is option to create a flag lot. With access 25 or 30 and 1 acre behind, but not gonna that happen. I'm not gonna split the lot. I wanna just have a permit for using this whole lot for the stupid.
So why was this done this way? This is,
It's,
I hadn't understood that, did you? No.
yeah, it's, like I said, it's a conceptual subdivision, so it's. That Ray said that you can show that it's possible to subdivide it because of the restrictions on buildings per acre on a lot. That it's possible to subdivide it if necessary, if there were to be a variance.
So the idea is that this is allowing two buildings because it's 2 acres plus.
Mhm.
In one area. And I'm not wrapping myself around this, actually, I don't quite.
1 second.
I think, to me. You mean, these two buildings are built, right?
No,
They're not
Yeah.
built.
No, I built on other side, I have a other lot, what I built it.
I got it. So these two buildings are what you want to build.
Yes, so far,
So why don't you just build them on the lot that's there?
I love it. That problem is I cannot have a permit.
Why not? I don't understand.
Ask,
why not?
It
Yeah,
has to do with the number of buildings per lot.
I can describe.
It's on the
So you want to,
memo, explained it on the memo there.
I don't think any of us understood that. I mean, what you're saying is that you're allowed to have one building per lot,
Per acre.
one building per acre.
And I have over 2.5 acres, so I can have a 2 building, but it's fine. But other restriction is the front. The lot needs to be more like 250, will be, okay, it will be.
So you want to divide this lot, you want,
I not wanna divide it, I just showed it.
but you're gonna have the two buildings on
On 1 lot,
one lot.
that's it.
So now we're trying to figure out how to make that lot smaller conceptually. This
I've not
is
understood this.
very odd.
Yeah.
I
So
would
the frontage width, if you don't take out this 23, it's non-conforming already, okay? Is that true? Yeah,
no, so it's got extra 2 feet.
it has an extra 2 feet,
Yeah, you've got 252 feet and now he's taking 25 off of it,
just. for
but
the-
he's not gonna take the 25 off of it. He just wants to show that he can do this. Well, he's showing that he can do it. Us granting a variance,
For the
this is-
lot line, for it's
I-
bizarre.
you know,
So why, he can't build just with the lot as it is, because he needs an acre for each. I don't understand how this achieves what he wants, I'm not,
Shelley has her hand up, maybe she has.
good, Shelley, maybe you can elucidate that.
So this is the alternative to a use variance. So this is another path. To show how you could subdivide and go through.
A
So,
use-
so this is the conceptual plan. It's the alternative to a use variance.
But
That's how.
how could that be? I mean, what's this zoned as?
I think
What is
it's,
he zoned as, Gina?
it's on that,
Rural residential, okay. And
So
so,
right, so he can only have so many dwellings on this lot. And if he wanted to have, more dwellings, he would have to apply for a use variance because it's not allowed.
why would that be a use variance?
yeah, I don't understand that.
The use of-
Because the use of a multifamily or the use of more dwellings is not allowed in that district.
The use is single family or 2-family or multi-family dwellings. That all these buildings are that use. It's not the use. You're talking about how many are permitted per lot and that
So he's in rural,
you're doing is, this is like a way to kind of jigger around the law, is what it looks like.
I think it's an alternative path.
Well,
I honestly haven't looked at it. I haven't
okay.
looked at the rural res.
I mean, because normally a use variance that we have dealt with and I should find out the definition, would be changing an industrial site to residential or vice versa, or that kind of stuff. Or commercial, like adding, so, it
I
just,
think that what the applicant has done here is he has shown what you seem to think would make what he's proposing to be all right. But I don't know that this board needs to provide a variance for something that isn't going to be done and is not even really seriously proposed in order to kind of get a workaround of the law. I think if you have law that's not working well, that the thing to do is change the law. In my opinion,
Well,
but I'm just
It's
one.
the density.
so section 604, special provisions, let's look at this. For major subdivisions. But this is not a major subdivision, is it? It's.
Minor, supposedly, yeah.
Okay, the minimum lot size shall be 2 acres unless the subdivider elects to proceed with subdivision approval pursuant to the conservation subdivision law. In which case, for the purposes only of determining the number of lots which could be permitted. Not sure how that, you want to read this, and see if you can make sense of that one, that's part of the law. So we're talking about density for sure.
Joy, I hope you make this whole discussion of record. Is that the plan?
It'll be interesting.
Interesting.
But this is a new to see.
I can tell you at this point, I'm not inclined to go along with this. To me, it's very similar to what they proposed a long time ago in Varna when there was a subdivision there and they came up with some method whereby they could skirt around the Varna requirements by having us grant 15 variances and so forth. I think we suggested that they go back and work it out, and I think they did.
So this is, again, this is a new section, by new, it's now almost 10 years old. Density in the rural residential, which is what we're talking about.
Okay,
Single, 2, and multifamily dwellings are permitted, subject to a maximum allowable density of 2 dwelling units per acre, with a maximum of 10 per lot. Subject to the foregoing limits, the maximum number of dwellings that can be built on a lot is equal to the maximum number of conforming lots that could be created if the lot were subdivided in accordance with the town's subdivision law. I think this is what they're doing now
Yeah.
that I'm reading this. This is, take a look at this. This is what they're doing here. This law that was enacted 10 years ago.
okay. Well, I think that
Whether it's wacky, but it is what they've made law 9 years ago. And that is what I think you guys are trying to do here, if you read that.
yeah. I'm not inclined to go along with that, but I understand what they imagine that they're doing there, but. He's shown that he
Yeah,
can
it's this.
create 2 lots, one of which is non-conforming. And the fact that we grant him a variance doesn't necessarily make it a conforming lot. I mean, this lot has been granted a variance. And I think you can take that map. Or Ray can take that map and say, yes, the applicant's shown that he can do this. Were he actually to want to do it, he could go to the Board of Zoning Appeals and request a variance. That's really what we thought he was doing. But if he's not even proposing to do that, if this is just some mechanism, I don't, to me, I've been at this a long time. This is not what I see the Board of Zoning Appeals approving. At least that's just, I could be convinced, I suppose, if my colleagues were to work on me.
Yeah,
But
I'm looking at this because I'm also feeling empathy. Suspicion, get your
Mhm.
suspicion.
You can call Joe, go with middle name Joe.
I mean, did you read this? This looks like what they're trying to put in front of us.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem is the frontage. you know, the part that the area variance is required for is the frontage. It's not the actual size of the lot. You can have two dwelling units on his lot because he's got 2 acres, 1 dwelling unit per acre.
Yes.
That's fine. But the problem is that he doesn't have enough frontage.
Right.
Yes.
So, you know, I grant you, it is a workaround, but I don't really have a problem with it. What kind of, you know, what kind of issue does it, if we proceed and grant the variance, I don't see a problem down the way where this is, you know, setting a bad precedent or, you know, in violation of law, like, you know, and by the way, who is gonna file an Article 78 for this, or, you know, litigate this variance? Nobody.
I guess I set my standard a little bit higher than whether or not. somebody
Well,
files an
but sooner or
Article 78, but-
Well, sure, but like, I mean, but, you know, if there's no, I mean, we just went through the factors, there's no deleterious consequences to the town. And granting the variance doesn't have, you know, doesn't change the character of the neighborhood. So we're left with whether or not, you know, what are the other consequences? That's all I'm saying is that there's there's very, very little, I can't imagine a possibility of litigation. So that's, and, you know, because of my training, that's where my mind goes. The, now, do we, you know, do we want to say that the planning department can have it? It's probably not, but. You know,
I mean, it
we have
seems like it's
applicant in front.
actually this runaround is encoded in the law. It's like, it seems like they
In
made
what
it.
way?
Well, that they're saying that you can increase the density in the rural residential if you subdivide it. And the town planning director and say that it's okay, basically, and up to 10.
Yeah, they're
dwelling
saying
units.
if you have conforming lots, and they don't in this case, so they're saying.
It doesn't say conforming, the
Okay.
language doesn't, well, let's see. Can be equal to the maximum number of conforming lots, so. Are any of these conforming? Yes, it would be conforming if we didn't do the flag lot. But if they get the variance, then they have. Be created if the lot would subdivide it in accordance with the town as calculated by the town planning director. Can be built on a lot. Maximum number of dwellings can be built on a lot. That is equal to the maximum number of conforming lots. So he's got the maximum. Got one lot. It's conformed.
He has a conforming lot, but he
Wants to.
wants to put 2 buildings on it.
I mean, to me, the important part is, do you have 1 acre per dwelling? And he does. And the frontage is.
Is the main question, you're right,
Is
absolutely.
the main question.
Yeah, I'm inclined to approve the lot line adjustment, given that it's minor and given that we did. It is pretty wonky, this whole process, doesn't make sense to be the way.
No, I mean, to me, it's disreputable, maybe too strong a term, but I'm really. It's offensive. I'm just one person.
How,
Yes,
and
exactly.
honestly, you guys in the planning department have gotten to this as the only way for him to achieve what he wants to achieve.
Well, that is what Ray concluded, but that is also for you to interpret.
I think I'd go back to our findings of fact and say, is there a way of achieving what we didn't understand what the applicant was trying to achieve?
Which you just want to get your 2 buildings the way you are shown here.
Yes, yes.
And regardless of whether you subdivide or not, this was your plan for the buildings, to build them this way?
Pretty much, yes. I have already cut for the driveway. And I have already approval from health department for 8-bedroom septic system. Everything is located and set up on the site. So basically, that's like we're talking from very, very beginning. I have a acreage for the for the two building. Problem, I don't see problem.
Right.
Problem is in the paper, so I'm short 23 feet with the frontage. And that was one way showing what I can cut and create another flag lot. So if I will have another flag lot, never used, never divided, but I can create a flag lot that's showing I'm approved for 2 lots and I'm gonna build 2 buildings. We're fine.
Mhm.
But I'm losing over 6 weeks waiting for
Yeah.
all this approval. Nothing's got, but weather will changing bad, so I cannot start with anything.
Right.
But I don't want to lose another 6 weeks, and wait for. On one side, I see this is very, very simple. Another side is complicated because it's 23 feet. And I will tell you, I own another property just a corner on Lower Creek, was 475 feet. And I have an approval last year for 3 building plus utility building. Because I have a 1 lot, 475 frontage, 4 acre. Already 3, this duplexes is built and utility building. And everything is okay. So I have a 475 with 4 acre and really 4 building. And zoning board let me do this.
Probably didn't have to come in front of us for that, but
1 driveway, 2 septic system.
Well, it's probably because they probably conform,
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
and it's not, what they're saying, if they have a non-conforming.
I mean, we could. Although I don't really see the point of, I mean, you can put. Considerations on this, that you don't build on that lot, but I don't have any need to do that particular, just, conditions.
Almost it will be easy. I can say, okay, let's create another lot. And have this another lot in the paper, but I don't need to create another lot. If that will make easy whole this process. But honestly, that's what I'm gonna do. Build 2 buildings, keep in 1 piece.
So in there.
Is that the provision, is that from the subdivision law or from the
It was some,
zoning law? The thing about the
Which,
the density, that's.
that's.
that's the zoning law,
The zoning.
town of zoning law. Town of Dryden.
Well,
That's good.
it seems to me that that's what they need a variance from.
Yeah, I'm not, yeah.
Because we're dealing with. I mean, the intent of the law, it seems to me, is that if, as long as you can produce conforming lots. Then you can use this relief, but in this case, they're not creating conforming lots. They're just saying, well, let's give the non-conforming lot a variance, and then in their view, that creates a conforming lot. So you get-
Well, that's where's,
But if you got a variance from that provision of the zoning law
see.
for this special situation, what this would be. Then he doesn't have to create the other lot, then we're addressing honestly what the applicant wants to do instead of this little workaround. Okay,
Yeah, the procedural, yeah, I tend to agree with you, like, I don't. it seems he could get relief under this law. And, you know, why does he need the variance?
I'm inclined to move to send this back to the planning department with our concerns, and I or anybody on the board, the chairman, whoever might want to talk with Ray about this, it's fine, but I think really
Can we have chapter 240 subdivision allowed? I want to hear that again. Because it says the maximum number of dwellings that can be built on a lot is equal to the maximum number of conforming lots. Okay, it's the conforming that we're getting into trouble with. That could be created if the lot were subdivided in accordance with chapter 240 subdivision allowed. For some reason, I don't have that in my book. So the sticking point here is that we are creating non-conforming lots.
one non-conforming lot, yeah.
And, you know, granting an area variance. I have no idea whether or not that would, you know, transform a non-conforming lot into a conforming lot.
No, it's just
It'd be a non-conforming lot with a variance.
right, exactly.
But if they wanted a variance for this provision of the zoning law, where they came in and made exactly the case that the applicant's making, and saying that they want a variance from that provision of conforming lots, that would be something I would look at differently. But why we came into this meeting tonight, and it was at the tail end of the discussion, and find out that this is what's being proposed. That I find more offensive than what's being proposed, I'll tell you that. I mean, I feel like we should have been advised of this whole thing earlier.
That is what the memo does. The memo lays it out.
Explains
Except
this.
I didn't
See,
get-
we're gonna build these.
I didn't get this. Did you get this? I got this tonight from you. Did you get this?
No, I did send it out.
Huh. I'll be honest, I'm also torn because I don't want to hold him up with this stuff. This is definitely you've been, so I'm.
Is there any, you know, Robert's rule of mechanism to get end this application orally?
Yeah, we could table a matter until the applicants discuss this further with the planning department, and if the planning department wants to discuss it with us, I don't know. I'd come back with a clear proposal. But I'm not sure what the memo was that you were talking about.
This one, I don't feel like I saw it, but Gina says she sent it to us.
It's,
It could have passed by me. It certainly wasn't in the printed packet. And maybe it came and I didn't, or maybe it just came.
It was sent out on December 10th.
Yeah, so I guess our packet, I was relying on our printed packets for that. And did not assume that would have been in it, and it wasn't. It is clear in that memo that that's,
well, not to me, no.
well, the second paragraph does, well, it doesn't. it's not-
Granted, this variance will allow the determination to, therefore, the plan site approval to construct the boundary could be granted. That.
Yeah.
That.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
That.
All right, so what do we want to do? I am dismayed by this, and it wasn't what I thought we were doing when we
I
walked in
didn't-
here.
couldn't
I
either.
didn't understand it that way. I still don't quite understand. I understand the law, but then we get hung up on that fact that it could be created. The if it's equal to the maximum, let me just think. The maximum number of conforming lots. So I've seen, let me rethink this again. There's no way the frontage could be divided to create two lots, right?
No, he's only got 2 extra feet.
Okay. So we've got two things, 2 dwelling units per acre, but then Yeah. The conforming, is that word that's hanging me up.
Well, I would move to table this, refer it back to the planning department, say that. Relay to them our concerns, if they wanted to talk to any of us or whatever, that's fine. Want to talk to the applicant. I'm not prepared to vote in favor of this tonight. I'll say that much.
We can
If you
keep,
have an alternative solution, you would like to do that.
Pardon me?
If you have an alternative solution, that would be a good place to start.
I didn't understand what you said.
she would like us to figure out a way to allow him to do what he wants.
That's not our job.
Yeah, it's not our job, is if they came and said he wants a variance from this law. From this.
Yeah, that's what he wants a variance from.
He wants a
The
variance.
requirement that they have two conforming, that the lots are conforming and they're not.
So if he came to us with this at our next meeting and said he's looking for a variance for that as well as a lot line. Would you be inclined to give it?
I would want to see a full explanation of this, and it gets back to the question. I think when I responded to B, I was responding as someone who I feel was misled. When I responded to B, and I would change my response to B, saying that I don't know if there's another way for him to achieve this. It's unclear to me. I think there's at least one other way is for him to get a variance from that section of the law. Another idea would be to change the law, if that's not what they really want. But what they seem to want, the county is saying, or the town is saying, as long as you're not creating non-conforming lots, which they are creating a non-conforming lot. So
That's the variance.
So
That's for the variance.
that's a little bit different.
My concern is that if you request a variance of section 606, that it would actually be a use variance and not an area variance.
Why would it be a use variance?
Fine.
Why would it be a use variance?
Because it has the section of the law has to deal with density. Of single and multifamily dwelling units. I mean,
Is that a use?
density, yeah, it's not area. I mean, at least in my mind, I mean, well,
Okay.
let me be clear. I don't know.
Well, that'd be something to look into. I don't
Right.
think the density is, but. If it's open for discussion, so yeah.
And I mean, like, if he's got to apply for a use variance, then that's,
That's a whole other topic.
yeah, that's a whole other.
Yeah.
It's
a high bar.
a very high bar. I think that. I mean, if we are looking at this as, area variances can be, they're not what you call elements. They're not things where you have to have a check on each box. It's totality of the circumstances here. Factor test. So if we're saying that B is possible, you could do it some other way.
Although we don't know what that way is, just to point out.
Well, I mean, I think the proposed way is to ask for a variance from section 1, section 606 of the town of Dryden zoning law. Whether or not that's use or area is a question. If it's use, then probably not feasible. If it's area, then yes, probably feasible.
Or it could be either one. I mean, use is a higher bar because it is dealing with a matter of greater bearing for the community, the uses. And that's what this is. So the community has made a determination that you can do this and that, provided you meet these conditions, and they're not meeting the conditions. And I would just want to do this in an honest, straightforward way, and I don't feel when I read the planning board's report to us, they were talking about the different houses and doodly do. There's nothing about this is not going to be subdivided. That this is just a mechanism to just kind of skirt around the law.
So it's trying to achieve an objective within the law, right? Not skirt around the law, because it's quoting the law and saying things about conceptual could be created. So I would object to any,
And you think?
I'm sorry, let me finish. I would object to any claim that we're being misleading. I think that this memo was very carefully written, very carefully considered and complete. It is complicated, I will grant you that. I don't know if this is the best solution. This is what Ray came up with.
Having that one sentence in there at the end.
I think the full memo does give the situation with the accompanying document. So I disagree. It is not misleading. I think it is very thorough. It took a lot of thought. A lot of thought went into it.
I think the next time it would be worthwhile to be explicit about. I mean, for instance, you could have included in that memo, the applicant doesn't intend to subdivide this lot. This is why we're doing this. Something like that might have raised our attention to it.
Right, that's why we bolded could be created in the
I
memo.
want to say, this is what we're proposing to do, but I can tell you right now, there are 3 people here tonight who had no idea this is what you were proposing.
Well, it is in the memo.
Well, if that satisfies you, that satisfies you. It does not satisfy.
The only thing I would say, Gina, I wished I had paid more attention to this. I guess I was used to getting these packets where I sit down, when I get the printed thing on my desk, and then I finally go through, I go to the area, I travel, I read it all, I go and look. So this went by me. I didn't see it, and it was obviously pretty important for me to see. I see what is trying to be achieved. I don't. And the planning board has sent it to us with their stamp of approval, it looks like.
I have no idea whether they reviewed it the same way we were reviewing.
Yeah, I wanted to go to the meeting and I couldn't.
But that wasn't in the minutes, in the explanation of this. This is a mechanism whereby we can accomplish this within the law, but we're not intending to do it. That all came up in the idea of sunsetting this thing.
So the memo says the applicant is applying for a road frontage variance to show that he is able to subdivide this existing tax parcel into 2 parcels. I grant you, it is a complicated use of the law, but it is not misleading and is not skirting the law. It is using the law, and it is in the
Yeah,
memo.
well, you're welcome to your opinion. That's
Well, I mean, we know it together, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my only problem with the law as written is that it implies there has to be 2 conforming lots in order to do this. It's pretty clear that what they're trying to do is encoded in the law if there are conforming lots.
right.
So that's the hangup here for me personally, that I mean, if we were creating 2 conforming lots, then I'd have no problem. I don't want to have a problem because I don't want to give you a problem in this case, because it seems, but I respect what you're saying too, Ben. Like I don't see how I'm in a muddle on it. I wished I had come in here sort of more well informed than I did come in. So then you feel we shouldn't rule on this. That's what you feel strongly about right now.
I'm proposing that we table this and refer it back to the planning department. This has all been taped. Ray can sit there and watch the tape if he wants and get an idea of what's come up, but I'm not prepared to support this until I get a full explanation and understand what the alternatives are. I really don't know. I think the honest way to come about this would have been to bring, ask for a variance for that provision of the zoning law. That's what I think would have been a more direct way of doing it. With an explanation of, this is why we think you should support it, because this is what it would look like and duly do. That, at least would have been an honest, straightforward approach to this problem. I had finding out after we go through the 5 provisions and everything else, finding out that this is what this is all about. And I don't think I think all 3 of us were in that position.
Yeah, I don't, I was.
I don't know.
Yeah.
If the planning department wants to take the position that we should have known better, it'll be an interesting discussion.
And again, my response would be to object to being called dishonest. I don't think that's a fair characterization.
Just said that this is not an
You
honest.
said it's not honest. That means it's dishonest, and I object to that.
Okay, you can.
That's fair. Yeah, I think it's a misunderstanding, miscommunication. Andrew, do you have any feeling on how we should proceed? I know this is your first meeting. This is,
This is the way they all are.
they are not. I mean, I would love to find a way right now to allow you to approve this. I'm just not finding my way there right now. I deeply respect Ben's knowledge on this stuff. And I do see the complications if there was a way for us to somehow grant it, at the same time lodging a complaint or cry for better communication when something is tricky like that. You know, there's, again, I'm not laying it on you either. It's just, I think we're all just unsurprised at. Too bad Henry isn't here. He'd have a. Too.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah, he would, the alternate member, Henry Andrew, was the former town planner.
Okay. Sorry, just give me a.
Yeah,
give me a
take your time.
Well, I think that the 5 questions that we went through were,
We could go back.
create a non-conforming lot, as part of a subdivision request. That was the reason for it. And, if we made it a record, our objections to the way this was brought to us. One option might be to grant the variance with a sunset
Okay.
of 2 months.
Why 2 months? Just,
It's a short period of time. The planning department, make it 1 month. Sunset at 1 month. He's not, the applicant doesn't intend to subdivide it anyway. So then the planning department has a record that we would have approved this for this subdivision, were it to be a subdivision.
how does that
But
help
then
him?
it goes away,
How does that help him?
because the planning board simply needed, they don't need it subdivided. They just need to know it could be.
Okay,
So we're indicating, yeah, if he were going to subdivide it, it could be. But we're going to sunset this approval in 1 month. And then it's going to go away.
so, but in that time,
If he
the
wants,
town can subdivide it so he can do what he
he's not
wants.
going to subdivide.
Well, the town is telling him, the planning department is saying he needs to do that in order to build.
He needs to be able to show that he could subdivide it.
Okay,
They told
Yeah.
I
us.
mean, if that's.
That's what I'm saying.
If that, works, I would love to do that. And I would also love, and we can, I mean, I'd love to, yeah, okay, that, I mean, I would be inclined to go for your initial 2 months, but just to give it all time, but yeah,
Well, it's not time for anything. All they want, it could be a day. All they want is for us to say, this could be done.
is that right?
that
Tina?
right?
Does that work for you?
Yeah, I'm a little confused about, when, say you had a sunset clause for 2 months.
Yep.
Now he'll still be building. Would he be in violation after those 2 months?
No, well, all he would then have to get his building permit from you because he has shown it. The only thing holding up his building permit, my understanding is that he has to show the concept that he could subdivide. We would approve the concept to subdivide. But he doesn't actually have to subdivide, is that right?
He's not going to subdivide it. It's never been about it. We,
So I
what
think-
we're showing is, according to that, is that the applicant's required to show that he can create 2 lots. That's what he's required to show. He's shown you that because he drew a picture of it.
Yeah.
But you're saying, no, that doesn't work because this is a non-conforming lot. So you have to go get a variance, and that, in your opinion, not in my opinion, in your opinion, would make it a conforming lot. If what you want is some assurance that that could happen, what I'm proposing is that we could say, in deference. And I would like it clearly spelled out what has been proposed to us so that it's clear.
I believe it's clear in the memo. I don't think I can make it any clearer.
Okay, let's not go there,
Well,
I think,
okay, then I think we ought to send this back.
well, I think we can make it in our, we can make. I mean, I like what you're saying, because it's also saying in this law that it does end up being cross-referenced in the deed of the lot in question, that the lot shall not increase even if the lot later is subdivided. I think you're right. All we have to do is say it can be done. And I think a sunset clause works. I think we can add in our decision the important points you want to be made public in this. I think we can add that to decision and conditions.
Okay.
So what we would do now, where we got caught up and where we learned all this was the seeker action, right?
No, I talked about sunsetting it.
Right, so.
And the question was when he planned to do it, and then it became that he didn't plan to do it at all.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, you're right. So let's.
Yeah, we're talking about conditions.
Yes,
And
so,
one of them I would have considered was whether or not to sunset it, because we're creating a lot with 230, whatever, 7 feet of road frontage, or 27 feet of road frontage. And the lot actually has 252.
Yeah.
And it's going to have 252.
right, okay. So,
I'm just gonna say, yeah, I could say that because it came to the attention of the planning board in the course of this discussion,
the zoning board.
the
right,
zoning
us.
board, yeah, I'm moving.
That's okay, sorry. I got it. Thank you.
That the applicant has no intention of subdividing this parcel. And that the purpose of this zoning appeal is to try to satisfy the conditions of, and what's the whatever that section of law is?
Let's get it here. You got it.
Is
Here, is
it
that it?
602 or is it
277, 270.6, there's 7.
Or,
And
local
that
law
the
606?
and that the, which requires the applicant, what does it say, to show that the parcel can be,
the purpose,
you're more familiar with it, I don't know.
well, is to show the the ability or the concept, as Gina has said, that,
I don't see where that is, but
here, let me just see it here. There-
you're familiar with that.
Okay, so it's,
I just like to use the exact words.
the purpose is to show that the lots could be created if the lot was subdivided. You were saying it's a conceptual subdivision. Is to
Well, not
show,
the conceptual there, but the purpose of this variance is to show that the applicant can meet the requirements of that section of law, which you put down there,
okay, mhm,
by showing that two lots could be created.
okay,
Which he has shown, provided that one of those lots would require a road frontage variance. The granting of this variance. The granting of this variance is to show that that would be possible.
okay,
And the relief granted by this variance. uh, Will terminate.
okay,
If the parcel is not actually subdivided within 30 days of the granting of the variance.
I'm gonna read this again. I'm gonna ask you to, Gina, does this allow him to do what he wants to do, as far as you think? So. It came to this is under the decision and conditions. It came to the attention of the ZBA that the applicant has no intention of subdividing the parcel. Instead, the purpose is of this zoning appeal is to meet local law 606 and to show that applicant can meet the requirements of such law, that two lots could be created. One of those lots would require a road frontage variance.
The applicant has shown that that can be done, but
Where was that? Okay, applicant has shown. Again, I will send this to you and you can, the creating of this variance is to show that it would be possible to subdivide, and the relief is granted by this, and the relief granted by this variance will terminate if the parcel is not subdivided within 30 days of the granting of it. So the idea is that we are now shown that it could be subdivided. We've approved that. And that is what you need for him to be able to move forward.
I would also ask maybe Shelley to weigh in whether
Okay,
that puts
sure.
him in any kind of jeopardy. That's
Okay.
all. Put
Shelley?
the applicant in any kind of jeopardy.
I'm sorry, I missed the question. I just heard Jeopardy.
I want your expert opinion about whether the solution come up with the zoning board puts the applicant in any kind of jeopardy of not being able to complete his project and have his project be legal.
Just that he has to subdivide within 30 days.
Yeah, and if he doesn't subdivide it and he builds and has a greater density,
the variance goes away if it's not
Right.
exercised within 30 days.
right, and that's not, but the sunset clause is not going to put the applicant into any kind of
But we've
legal hot
shown,
water.
by creating it that the two lots could be created if it was subdivided. We've now said, yes, we've said, yes, it can be subdivided. So you can do what you want, but the subdivision approval goes away in
The
30
variance.
days. Yeah, the variance,
Variance relief
right.
goes away, which he doesn't need.
Well,
it.
Right, so I think it would just be a condition on the zoning permit.
Or
What?
whatever you want to do, but
Yeah. So no, I don't know of anything. not right off the top of my head.
This works then to allow him to go forward.
It does with, I haven't done any research, but yeah,
Probably works better than a vote of 2-1.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't want to do that.
So,
I think,
I think this
yeah, I
is-
think this is a
I
very
think it's as
creative,
good as it gets.
this is a creative and I'm grateful to you, Ben, for coming down to this. Okay, so Ben, you want to make this motion? We have to actually vote on that seeker thing first, but I would move to classify this as blah, blah, blah seeker that we just talked about. I gotta find it.
The requested variance is a type 2 action under
Yeah.
State Environmental Quality Review Seeker 6 CRNY 617.5 Section B subsection 16.
Okay, so I move that. You would have a second.
Well, let me amend that, based solely on the recommendation of the planning department.
Okay, okay. So I so moved. Does anyone want a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Thank you, Ben. Okay, so now I just read these decision and condition. Do you want to make that motion, Ben?
So we're granting the variance, as requested with the following conditions. Right?
Yep.
Okay. With great reluctance, you can make that a record, I would move that.
Seconded.
And I'm in favor too, all in favor.
With even greater reluctance, I'll put in favor of it.
With even greater. All right,
Okay, great.
go forth and build.
Thank you.
The easy part will be building.
Exactly.
I will tell you.
Yeah, Bill would know, but Ben would know.
Well, it's not your fault, but yeah.
I know how to do that. I didn't catch and I didn't understand the 30 days, what I have to do.
Just go to her and she'll help you, and Shelley,
Uh-huh.
it's really, we have helped, what we did is show that you could do it.
Yes.
And that's all you need theoretically, we understand from this law, in order to do it.
We've given the planning department what we understand to be what they require
Yeah.
in order, and I won't say, in order to work their way around the law that's there.
It's according to the law, but I understand your solution, and I would say to you, the simplest way I could put it is that if you don't subdivide it within 30 days, you can't subdivide it.
But you never wanted to.
You're right.
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's
This
good,
is.
that's
I'm
good.
not gonna- Like I said.
You're not going to, so it's good.
I'm gonna show like, so it's possible,
Right.
but not gonna.
Right.
I think you did that.
Yeah, which is
Thank
great.
you so much, guys.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Tomorrow for the permit.
Okay,
And pray for the weather.
yeah, okay, that's good. Ben, that was very good solution. Thank you for coming up with that, because I was completely flummoxed by this one. Oh, I'd like to move to close this hearing. Do I have a second?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Come on, okay, so we can turn these off.
Well, we have to stop recording.
All right, you want to adjourn the meeting? or?
Where's the other guy?
The other guys in here, so we don't.
Well, we gotta make a determination.
All right, so we
I
should,
think based on, there's a section of the zoning law, do you know what it is that requires the applicant to be here?
yeah, I don't,
I'm not asking the staff, they're right there. Do you know this?
I can't quote offhand, but Ray did tell me that if the applicant does not show up.
yeah, that's always been.
Well, pursuant to that section, I'm not sure if I have one right here. Didn't bring my big knapsack with me, but,
Yeah,
and you'd have to fill in that section, Joy. Pursuant to that section. The board has determined that we can't hear. I want to be sure that that's what it says. I think that I seem to recall that we
we always ask that, and I understood, yeah.
would be under procedures for the board of
Zoning.
zoning appeals.
Yeah, okay, let's see if I
Uh,
can somehow.
We have that with me and I.
Parts of the.
Like Rosemary Woods running this.
Janice, do you want the recording to stop?
No, that's okay. I haven't adjourned yet. I'm sorry, I was about to adjourn, but I realized we had this other,
We're trying to
Okay,
take care of the second case, which we do not believe we can hear because there's,
right.
but we want to make sure that we cite the section that we're making that determination based upon.
Okay,
yeah, it's more about all of, this whole section is more about what we need to do as opposed to anything about the applicant.
That's on the procedure section.
Yeah, it's sort of like removal procedure, if we get removed from it, or I'm not getting anything about. So,
That's sort of, I vaguely remember where it goes.
and I have not, my book isn't complete at some point, I don't know why I took it and pages out, but. Yeah. 14 something is not okay.
Hearing.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it in there. It's more about us and our conduct as opposed to the applicant.
Oh, it is,
I do know it's how we've always proceeded, that if they're not here, we don't have to hear them.
conduct of a hearing. Public hearing charges shall be conducted before the
Town board.
town board. House removal. See.
Yeah, yeah, that's getting rid of us. I don't see anything about the applicant. This is all about us and our roles. So it'd probably be some general, well, you know what, I have this, I have the book, you know, wait, well, you know where we might find it? It would be state, this whole book here. What's his name? It's book, Coons.
Oh.
I have that right here. So I have, it might be here. Something in here, even though it's somewhat old. Gina, could you make a note, or Joy, that Andrew needs a binder with all this stuff?
Oh, okay.
yes, I have his binder. It's been in our office for months.
Okay, thank you, Joy.
Sure.
I will come pick it up.
All that. Was there anything in here about?
I know we talked about it before. But
Yeah. Is there a?
it would. We're relying on it
Who
to.
are the proper parties before the board, 21 maybe? Let's see on here, if we can. And this is the Coons, you know, that. Let's see,
Yeah, it would have to be in the town zoning law.
Yeah. That's really just a definition of what an aggrieved party is. It doesn't procedure buying before them. Let's see.
Section 267.
Okay, how appeal is taken to the board.
Okay, so it's section 267B.
267B, you found something?
I
Who
didn't
said
say
that?
I did, I'm sorry.
Okay,
No, it's Town Law 267V. And
Okay.
I'm still looking through that section.
oh, you found it, or no, you were just talking to yourself?
I was just talking to myself, so I was looking through that section.
Okay,
I'm taking a look at the guide for applicants. It doesn't
Yeah.
Say anything in there either.
yeah. I mean, it's logical to me that the person needs to be here to make the appeal, right? And answer questions.
Yeah, Janice, I'm not sure where it's written, but I know from Henry days, I wish he was here tonight. He's always said if the
Yeah.
applicant has to be there, if not, you send somebody that can speak on your behalf.
Yep.
And
Right.
they have never heard a case yet if the applicant didn't show up.
Right, and I know that too. Ben was just, we were just for the actual written, but yeah,
You know, because they're talking about their appeal. How can you make the appeal for them? You know,
I guess another way around that. I didn't realize it would be this hard to do this. I could move to table the second variance. Because the board is not comfortable proceeding without the applicant present.
okay. Yeah, and actually, if you imagine that people came to object and the person wasn't here who made the appeal,
Or if we have questions.
yeah, they would have no, they would have no ability to be heard. Okay, so we're gonna table that. I would second that. And I'll look further for some kind of,
Maybe and it probably requires that the applicant be present or some,
yeah,
it's probably too strong, because we don't know that that's required. I'm pretty sure it is.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it is too. We
But
just
we'd have
don't
to
have
find
to.
it.
Yeah, okay, okay. So I would second that. Andrew, do you want to? All in favor?
All in favor?
Okay, great. So now, should I move to adjourn?
I think we've
No, all
earned
these-
an adjournment.
Okay, I move to adjourn. All in favor? Somebody want a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Wow. Okay, now we can end recording.